corner. Weighing in at 229 pounds, he fights out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, introducing veteran Jimmy Young. In round 2 boxing.
Just about set to go with another big heavyweight fight for you. Jimmy Young and Michael Dokes. Michael Dokes, the young, undefeated, 13th ranked WBC contender. He's 14-0 with 6 knockouts, going against the veteran of the ring, Jimmy Young. Jimmy's record 23-8-2. He's ranked 6th by the WBC. This is the first real big test for Michael Dokes. For Jimmy Young, it's a question of him being a great defensive fighter and see if he can hold off the barrage of the young Michael Dokes. Dokes will start fast. He likes to work to the body and kidney, liver, heart, that area, and go to work on the veteran Jimmy Young. Here we go. Michael Dokes, round 1. Dokes in the white trunks. Jimmy Young, the very experienced defensive genius, in the dark trunks. This is live from Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. I'm Bob Sheridan. Glad you can be with us. Dokes, again, does not have the experience of the professional ranks, but has a 147 wins and 7 losses as an amateur. This is really stepping up in class for young Mike Dokes. Jimmy Young in at 229, a little bit heavy for him. Michael Dokes putting weight on all the time. The younger fella, 21 years old, 213 pounds. Jimmy's age 30, be 31 next month. Michael Dokes just 21. Dokes in previous fights has shown there's a lot of hand speed, a lot of foot speed, a lot of confidence at the weigh-in yesterday, trying to rile Jimmy Young up. Young does not look in the best shape that we've seen him in previous fights. Dokes looks in peak shape. As you know, Jimmy Young has fought some of the best. He had a very close decision, a loss in Landover, Maryland, to Muhammad Ali. So for Michael Dokes, having the opportunity to fight this man is great for him. Dokes is managed by Carl King, corner Bill Present, and Leo Oliver. Jimmy Young has Ray Kelly, Jack Levin, and Bob Brown working with him. As Dokes continues to work downstairs to the body. He told me he'd go to the body. Blow, it looks like, by the referee Carlos Padilla, says it's a low blow, and that's the way it's ruled. No count or anything like that. The referee gives him all the time he wants, sends Jimmy Young to a neutral corner. So Michael Dokes is caught with a low blow in the first round. Watch this shot. There you see it. And we're just about set to go back to live action as the timing of the round continues from the point on here. They stopped the timing of the round. We're still in round 1. That was no knockdown, just a low blow. Dokes looks like he's picking up the pace here as he goes downstairs a bit on Jimmy Young. Mike has been taunting Jimmy all week long. Who knows whether it was intentional or not, but Dokes appears to be working downstairs now as the referee says, get your punches up, Michael. Middle. Michael looks to be real quick in there, but Jimmy Young has tremendous experience. Young is strong, too. Don't forget, Young has big wins over George Foreman and also over Ken Norton. He knocked out Wendell Bailey in the 3rd round back in June. The only thing we can compare that to is that Dokes went the distance with Bailey in the spring. So far a fairly even first round, although Michael Dokes appeared to be the aggressor. let's talk about Michael Dokes a little bit. Dokes is, as we mentioned, 21 years old. He's 6'3", 79-inch reach. Managed by the son of the promoter, Don King. He's managed by Carl King. That's Carl there in the yellow shirt in the corner, talking to his fighters. Spends a lot of time with Michael. Dokes, a real fine natural athlete. Good in baseball, basketball. He played them all. He knows what he wants to do, and that, of course, at this weight level and at his age, he wants a shot at the title, but he knows he has to be patient. He knows he has to progress along all the time, and going against the experience of Jimmy Young is a great test for him. Jimmy Young has lost some close decisions here. All the time it's been Young a question of aggressiveness, and he's never been real aggressive. It caused him problems. I had a discussion with Jimmy Young a few years ago about that, and he is proud of the fact that he's considered one of the best defensive fighters in the world, but that really hasn't helped him a lot as far as winning his big fights. We're in round 2. This is a scheduled 10-round heavyweight fight. Jimmy comes parring with the left hand at Dokes. Dokes holding his guard down a little bit. Doesn't seem to be showing a lot of respect for Jimmy Young. Young Michael Dokes against the experienced veteran of the ring, Jimmy Young. Young, of course, vaulted on the national and worldwide scene with his very close decision, which he lost to Muhammad Ali, but it moved him right into a shot at making some big money. For Jimmy, this is certainly a turning point in his career. A loss here would drop him down in the rankings, out of the big money contention. And if he ever hopes to have another title shot, it's an absolute necessity he beat Michael Dokes. But for Dokes, on the other hand, he wants to keep his Young record unblemished. And defeating a man like Young, of course, would be great to his credit and move him up perhaps into the top 10 rankings. Come on, Michael! And that's where the money begins. Dokes goes headhunting with the right hand. Jimmy fighting a typical Jimmy Young style fight, covering his face up with his gloves and showing great defense. That time he takes a good right hand from the gloves of Mike Dokes. The most brilliant fight that we saw Jimmy Young ever fight was against, of course, George Foreman. St. Patrick's Day 2 years ago down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Brilliant defensive fight. Of course, the style was ideal for Foreman, who wearies with rounds. We haven't seen much from Foreman since then. In fact, we've seen nothing from him since then. But here we're at Caesar's Palace. We're in round 2 of a scheduled 10-round heavyweight fight. The young up-and-coming Michael Dokes against Jimmy Young. Dokes in the white trunks, Young, of course, in the dark trunks. And the bell sounds as Michael Dokes unlashes a flurry in the second round. So Dokes on aggressiveness immediately jumps out in front of the fight of Jimmy Young. And once again we go to the corner of Mike Dokes. Michael Dynamite Dokes is the nickname they put on him. Taking a look at his record a little bit here, we'll tell you a little bit about it. He holds victories over Willie McIntyre back in July at West Palm Beach, a second-round knockout. He knocked out Greg Sorrentino here in Las Vegas, the third round back in May. In March, he decisioned Wendell Bailey. It was a close decision, but he won the fight. And then going back, he has, of course, the string of all his wins. His first fight was back in October of 1976 against Al Bird in Hollywood, Florida, which he, of course, won. Again, the ring record of Michael Dokes is unblemished. 14-0 with 6 knockouts to his record, but 147 wins and 7 losses as an amateur. We're in round 3 now. This is scheduled for 10. I'd be surprised if Jimmy Young doesn't pick up the pace here. Jimmy can't afford a loss. And Jim should know because he's lost some close decisions here in Las Vegas. Dokes is effective inside. Young fighting back a little bit more aggressively now as Dokes comes in. Third man of the ring, Carlos Padilla, the referee. Now he warns Michael Dokes. Dokes argues with him.
Come on, Michael, take it to him, Michael.
At this point in the fight, Dokes has been forcing it. Jimmy Young hit him with a low blow in the first round, which slowed things down. Young scores with a looping right hand at time. This would be the best round so far to this point for Jimmy Young, but just as I say that, Michael Dokes scores a good combination and gets through with the left hand. Young seemingly a bit more aggressive in this round. Not exactly what you would call an action-packed bout to this particular point in the fight anyway. Good left hand scored by Michael Dokes. Mike told me yesterday he wants to hit those arms. And I'm not talking about the forearms. He wants to hit him right in the muscle part. And he's done that a couple of times. You see Jimmy try to loosen the arms up. Dokes wild with the right hand there. Young Mike Dokes, great personality, great athlete. He's going to get bigger as he continues to grow in stature with the type of fighters he's fighting. And this, of course, is a big step up in class for him, fighting the likes of Jimmy Young. Showing that he's got the real quick hands. Good right hand score. That's another good right hand. Dokes scoring the heavier blows so far. Jimmy Young had one little flurry here in this third round, but after that, Michael Dokes seems to be controlling the fight. Dokes again in the white trunks with his back to you. Jimmy Young facing you in the dark trunks, black trunks. Bell ends round 3. Well, at this point in the fight, as we go again to the corner of Michael Dokes, see if we can pick up some of the chatter over there in the corner. A lot of the jibber-jabber that goes on in the corner, you wonder really how useful it is to the fighters. Michael told me something that I found not strange but kind of unusual. He told me he's learning to breathe, which of course breathing is very important in any athletic sport.
Oh man, we gonna fight.
You just have that minute in between to kind of gather your senses and gather your wits about you. It's very important that you get full recuperation. Larry Holmes certainly proved that when he's hung on to retain his title in a dramatic fight earlier this evening. Okay, here we go, round 4. We're at Caesar's Palace. My name is Bob Sheridan. Glad you can be with us in this Don King production. Round 4. Michael Dokes against Jimmy Young. Young also, to his credit, besides going the distance with Muhammad Ali, beat Ron Lyle twice. Then he ran into trouble with 2 losses to Jaws Ocasio. Here's Mike Dokes trying to pour it on, working upstairs and downstairs on Jimmy Young. To this point, Mike's punches have not done any serious damage to Jimmy Young. Young can take a shot. Young slipped through there with 1 jab, but Mike came back with about 3 of his own. As Michael Dokes getting the hand through there. Dokes seems to be getting through there, but not doing any real serious damage to the more experienced Jimmy Young, who's been in with the likes of guys that can really tee off when you talk in terms of George Foreman, and Foreman was unable to drop it. It's Jimmy Young facing you, the younger Michael Dokes, 9 years, almost 10 years younger. Now Jimmy's complaining about something. First off, there was a low blow in the first round, and Mike was complaining about something, then Jimmy Young complaining. A bad feeling, I think, between these two fighters. I know Dokes has been taunting Jimmy Young all week out here. Good combination of punches. How much damage it does to Jimmy is questionable. Jimmy tries to fight back. Neither fighter has been down, neither fighter hurt. No real heavy punches landed at this point in the fight. And the referee separates them again. Third man in the ring, Carlos Padilla. Jimmy tries to tee up a bit, but Mike holds off his barrage. Scores a good right hand of his own. I think Dokes is throwing an awful lot of punches. He looks in tremendous shape. He told me he's in the best shape of his life. Michael Dokes considers himself a good counter-puncher. He's only one to catch punches thrown by Young. The bad blood continues as the bell sounds in round 4, and the punches continue to go, and it was by no mistake both fighters threw them. Fairly even round that time.
Now listen, who threw them fucking punches? You understand? You hear me? Not fucking punches. Get back.
We're looking into the corner of Michael Dokes. It seems to be a very disciplined corner. Meanwhile, I'm looking down here to the other side and listening to the instructions that Jimmy Young is getting from his handlers. And they giving him all kinds of the devil over there because he is not throwing a lot of punches. Now you look at Jimmy Young. See, he looks a little bit on the hefty side there. Seems to be confusion in the corner of Jimmy Young, which is not a good sign. His handlers don't like what they see so far, and unofficially I have Michael Dokes out in front to fight. So we get ready to go to round number 5. They want Jimmy to get more aggressive. Something that Jimmy, well, a lot of boxing experts and writers and handlers and whatnot, he had the ability always to be a defensive fighter, but he had to get more aggressive. Round 5, scheduled for 10. To this point, it hasn't been a tremendous action-packed fight. Two kind of contrasting styles. The defensive fighter, Mike Dokes, trying to get punches through there. And that's been the story. But Dokes is throwing more of the punches. You see Jimmy Young plodding, not getting through with hardly any punches. Referee Carlos Padilla separates the two again. Mike just measures him with the left hand and then unloads with the right. Punches don't seem to do a lot of damage to the more experienced Young, who's a master at covering himself up. Referee Padilla having all he can do to separate the two fighters, and they keep punching as he separates them. Padilla really has his work cut out for him. There's no question about it. I'd have to say there's bad blood between these two guys because they don't want to separate in the clinches. There's been a couple of low blows. Jimmy lets fly with the right hand that catches Mike Dokes, but Dokes is right back with the right of his own. The infighting here is what I would consider questionable. The referee didn't seem to be able to separate the two. Come right back inside. With the right hand and catches Dokes a couple of times. Mike pushes him back now. Mike has great hand speed, but he's frustrated by the fact he can't seem to get through there and score any punches, real heavy punches with Jimmy Young. As There's a good exchange, and he scores it ahead that time, Jim. Referee says let go as Dokes is hanging on to both hands of Jimmy Young. Now he gets through there with the left hand. He puts the left hand through between the gloves of Jim. Jimmy tries to get sneaky with the right hand. Young is able to move Dokes to the ropes all the time, but Mike Dokes does a good job moving off the ropes. Young tries to work inside. To look at Jimmy, you wouldn't think he's in as great shape as Michael Dokes. Dokes has got just a tremendous looking physique on him and looks in tremendous shape. Jim looks a little on the heavy side, but it's two different body types. Both fighters train hard for this.
Get off. This guy's nothing. Just choose the fucking gym.
They're saying over in the corner of Jimmy Young that Michael Dokes is nothing, but Michael Dokes seems to be giving Jimmy all he can handle. Jimmy's never an explosive type fighter. He's the type of guy that can make anybody look bad.
When you do your thing,
We had Michael Dokes winning the first 3 rounds and 4 and 5 fairly even. Again, neither fighter has been hurt. Neither fighter has been down.
Okay. You are? I come to you.
Corner of Jimmy Young really on his case about getting more aggressive out there. Here we go, round 6. We're at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Michael Dokes to the right. The young fellow, 14-0, unblemished record as a heavyweight. Tremendous, brilliant amateur career, 147-7 for a record. Jimmy Young, 23-8-2, ranked 6th by the WBC. Dokes is ranked 13th. A win for the young Michael Dokes would be great, moving him into the top 10, moving him into the big paydays. Obviously, the corner of Jimmy Young is not pleased by the fact that their fighter is trailing in the fight at this point. Jimmy, of course, has gone the distance on several occasions, having fought for the title a couple of times.
Keep it up.
Dokes goes head hunting, and Jim comes right back, works downstairs. Michael Dokes has only gone 10 rounds once in his career. Last couple of times out, he went 2 rounds and 3 rounds. And it goes back to March of this year when he fought Wendell Bailey and went 10 rounds by decision. Till that point, he had never gone beyond 8. Right now, we're in the 6th round. Jimmy Young's career, a brilliant one, really, since he's fought all the real tough fighters. Really got going back in '76 when he evolved himself into a world-class type of fighter, defeating Jose Roman down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, at a time when Roman was just coming off a world title fight against Muhammad Ali, George Foreman in Tokyo. So the veteran Jimmy Young is well able to go the distance in any fight. But again, as this corner keeps yelling at him, you got to get more aggressive. The contrasting styles of the two fighters makes it look like it's not a real wild fight, but just at the end of that round, Dokes is caught by a right hand. It looks a lot more lackluster than it really is because these fighters are working hard in there, but the really opposite styles of the fighting, especially Jimmy Young, can make a guy look awkward and make a guy look bad. And Michael Dokes gaining experience by fighting a fighter the stature of a Jimmy Young. So far, the aggressiveness of Michael Dokes in the first 3 rounds, really the only difference in the fight to this point. Other than that, it's been fairly even. Neither fighter has really taken charge. We're coming up to round 7 in this heavyweight battle, scheduled for 10. And at this point, unless there's a dramatic turnaround, it probably will go 10 rounds. Both fighters are in good shape. Carl King, the son of Don King, the promoter, handles Michael Dokes. And as ring-wise as Don King is, you know, if he has a son with a fighter, that he must have a lot of respect for him. Jimmy Young looking like he's may break out and get a little bit more aggressive, something that he probably should have done throughout his career, get a little bit more aggressive. Dokes 6'3", Jimmy Young 6'2". Reach is exactly the same. Both fighters 79-inch reach. Remember, the referee has no say in the scoring of this fight, or any fight here in Las Vegas. The judges do all the scoring. Again, Mike Dokes asserted himself in the first 3 rounds and was much more aggressive as Jimmy Young was just catching punches for 4, 5, and 6. And to this point, round 7 has been fairly even. A couple of questionable low blows, a little bit of brawling tactics by both fighters. Neither one too crazy about each other. Dokes really tees off there, but doesn't seem to be able to get through to do the big damage to Jimmy.
Isn't that right when he drops it?
He told me yesterday he was going to try and work more to the body, but it's very difficult when you see a guy just standing there to discipline yourself enough to just go to the body and try to soften him up to drop those hands. But it's nothing but expended energy when you go to the head of a guy with his hands down. Or rather, his head coming up with his hands. This is a heavyweight fight, of course. Dokes weighing 213, Jimmy Young 229. Typical Jimmy Young style fight. He comes in with his hands covering his face, so he never gets hit too bad. Now they put their heads together. Dokes kind of hangs on.
Michael, give him that right.
Well, Michael Dokes has been far more aggressive throwing punches. Jimmy keeps coming on all the time. Jim doesn't seem to have a lot of the quickness he had when he was a few pounds lighter. Dokes has plenty of quickness as the bell sounds ending round 7. It doesn't seem like they're doing enough fighting right now. Is a little altercation there. So there is bad blood between these two. There's no question about that. Again, if you scored on aggressiveness, Michael Dokes would be out in front. Jimmy Young's people are still screaming and yelling at him over in his corner. They're not pleased with the way this fight is progressing along. They tell him, you're going to start throwing more punches. You're going to throw more punches. Never mind the power, never mind anything. Just start throwing more punches. And they're right, too. They know. this should be a little bit more action-packed as the bad blood was flying there at the end of round 7. We're in round 8 now. See if Dokes can pick up the pace. Jimmy Young is throwing more punches as well. Carl King yelling from the corner. He threw the towel out there at Jimmy Young at the tail end of the 7th round. It looked like he wanted to climb in there himself. Dokes gaining a lot of experience going against a far more experience as far as professional fights is concerned than Jimmy Young. But Jimmy's very ring-wise, been in against the best. Foreman, Ali, Norton, fought them all. A great opportunity for Dokes to go against him in just his 15th professional fight. That's not to say that Dokes doesn't have a lot of ring savvy of 154 amateur fights. He really flails away with the right hand, head and body. They keep talking to each other. Jimmy says, "What are you doing hanging on my hand?" Dokes lets go. Dokes complains about Jimmy hanging on to his head. Tell you one thing, I genuinely believe that these two guys do not like each other, which is a great thing when they get in their profession, climb into the ring and go head to head with each other. There's Jimmy throwing his best flurry to this point in the fight, picking up the pace a bit. And no damage done to Mike Dokes. Dokes goes working downstairs. Referee Carlos Padilla warns Mike Dokes about the low blows. Dokes is furious with Padilla. Jimmy Young comes back over. Padilla throws him back. He's telling him to keep his hand clinched too. He must be complaining about the thumb. No love lost between these two fighters, and both of them willing to use any tactics they have to use to offset the other one. Padilla really has his work cut out for him here with these guys. Both of them have thrown low blows. Whether they're intentional or not is hard to say, because when they're in tight, it's very difficult to know. But there certainly have been low blows thrown by both fighters during the fight.
Come on, Michael, don't get mad. Get even.
In fact, back in the first round, one thrown by Jimmy Young was so severe that they had to stop the fight, hold it up for a bit till Michael Dokes was able to catch his breath. Mike just missed the right hand and scored with the left hook that time. At the end of every round. It seems as though they can't get enough in the 3 minutes. One of the better rounds for Jimmy Young. Still a lot of screaming and yelling going on in the corner of Jimmy Young. Right now we're in the corner of Michael Dokes. Dokes took command round 1, round 2, round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all fairly even. Young maybe slight advantage in round 8, but the aggressiveness has certainly been in the favor of Michael Dokes as Jimmy Young continues to fight what you have to call a typical Jimmy Young fight. Not aggressive at all. Here we go with round number 9. Now you remember at the close of round 8, the fellas weren't getting enough. They still wanted to go at each other. Well, here we go with round 9. Young starts in a little bit more aggressive here in round 9. Dokes gets through with a hand again. The left has been in the face continually of Jimmy Young. I'm really surprised myself at this point in the fight where it's gone this far that Jimmy Young has not become tremendously more aggressive, because he's been victimized losing close decisions because of his lack of aggression, especially with his bad blood. That's ruled a slip. No, it's ruled a slip. A little bit of water after the full night of boxing has gone on here in the ring, so the fella's a little slippery underfoot. come to life here. They want a little more action to wind this thing up. Again, we're in round 9, scheduled for 10. This heavyweight battle between Jimmy Young and the younger Michael Dokes. Jimmy Young has a cut on the bridge of his nose right now, as Dokes has been able to get through there with some good shots. Michael continued to try to work on that now to draw the blood out, make it look better in his favor. Referee Carlos Padilla has had all he can handle tonight with these two guys. Oh! Jimmy catches Mike with a right hand, but Michaels is not even blinking his eye as he comes right back after that. If Dokes get hit, he comes back strong. Jimmy Wow with the right hand just grazes by the chin of Michael Dokes. Better round now for Jimmy Young. Jimmy walks into a right hand thrown by Dokes that time. Jimmy's got a cut up in his forehead. It must be from a butt or something of that nature, with blood streaming down his face. Dokes is caught again with the right hand. Michael holding his hands down and bouncing away, looking for the opportunity, slips through with the left. Getting more aggressive in this round than he has been for a while. Bell sounds ending round 9, and we're going to get into the 10th round. Well, I have Michael Dokes out in front in the fight at this point, heading to round 10. So it'll take a brilliant
finish
for Jimmy Young.
This one's for me.
Last round, yeah, it's accidental. Last round.
We're in the corner now at Jimmy Young. His people saying, come on, this is it. Don't take any chances. Referee Carlos Padilla has really had his work cut out for him. Has had a tough go all the way with these two who've been brawling and roughhouse tactic all throughout the fight. This is the 10th and final round, as you heard. Ring announcer took off. Michael Dokes kisses the referee at the end, and now here we go. I don't know what that's all about. You're doing a pretty good job in spite of all of this. So here we go, round 10. Expect to see Young pick up the action and see Dokes do some flashy bouncing around himself. Round 10, Dokes is on the merry-go-round on the feet. Makes Jimmy Young look bad missing. Jimmy just holding the left hand down, kind of shooting from the hip with that. Dokes wants to zip in and zip out, showing that he's got plenty left in his legs. Again, I have Dokes slightly out in front in the fight, but that's unofficial scoring. On aggressiveness, you got to give it to Dokes so far. Although Jimmy Young has had a pretty good 8th and 9th round. Jimmy Young has not been as aggressive in this round at all, which surprises me. I thought that he'd really finish very strong. Mike Dokes is proving to be all he can handle. So you have to wonder where the career of Jimmy Young is going at age 30. Of course, at age 35, the challenger for the heavyweight title, Ernie Chavez, had Larry Holmes down on the canvas in the 7th round. Of course, Holmes came back to retain his title in a great TKO win for him. 11th round TKO it was. Right now, we're in the final round here, the final going between Michael Dokes and Jimmy Young. Round 10. Young just has not picked up the pace too much at all. A little bit in round 8, a little bit in round 9. most of the way. Contrasting styles ordinarily make for a good fight. This one has been a fight of bad blood. Jimmy Young fought a defensive battle throughout the early going all the way as Dokes was building up points. Then got a little bit more aggressive along about the 8th round. We're in round 10, another fairly even round. Neither fighter has been down. 7th round, Jimmy Young was cut. Neither fighter has been visibly shaken or hurt throughout the fight. Dokes scores with the left hook. Jimmy Young's face has got a lot of blood on it. If you looked at the face, you'd say Mike Dokes is the winner of this one. That's it. The bell sounds, ending the fight. And now Mike Dokes comes over and who knows what he said, but there's been bad blood throughout the entire fight. They're just having a chat with each other to just say, hey, it was all in sportsmanship or whatever.
Michael Dokes.
And the unanimous decision winner is Michael Dokes.